In 1978, Nick Cave was arrested for disorderly conduct and vandalism. He had just turned 21. He called his mother to come bail him out. After his mother arrived, one of his sisters arrived as well, with a friend of his named Anita Lane. He had met Anita about a year or 2 years before at a performance. They looked very distressed. His father, who was an English teacher, had died in a car crash. His mother asked him to call his other sister on the phone. While he did so, 2 police officers within earshot of him and his family and his friend Anita were making jokes about a prostitute who had just been raped. Nick asked him to stop, but they ignored him. Death is a constant theme in Nick Cave's lyrics. And he's been on my mind the past few days. But to be fair, he's been on my mind since 1987, since I listened to him for the first time. I actually listened and saw him in Wim Wenders' Wings of Desire when I saw it in the theater, when it premiered here in the States. And over the years, when I would read Faulkner or Flannery O'Connor or Cormac McCarthy, I'd always think of Nick. And it made me return to this book here, Nick Cave, Mercy on Me, by Reinhard Kleist, translated by Michael Waller. This book came out, I think, in 2017, at least the English edition did. Earl Grey, a fellow YouTuber, made a video about this book. At the time, I thought about it, but I didn't. But I've been thinking about this book, thinking about Cave, and listening to his music. What this book is, it's a biography mixed with fact and fiction. The fiction is from his music, the fact is from his life. I mentioned Anita Lane earlier. She played an extremely important part in Nick Cave's life. She wrote From Her to Eternity and Stranger Than Kindness, which I think may be my favorite songs by Nick Cave, even though they're not entirely by him. When he was young, Nick Cave has said that he had strong contempt for the world. He thought it was a terrible place. However, everything changed in 2015 when his son Arthur died. He was just 15 years old. But then, last year, another son of his also died when he was 31. . And in April 2021, Anita Hill, at age 61, she also passed away. Where the wild roses grow. A collaboration that Nick Cave did with Kylie Minogue. Both her management and his management thought it was a terrible idea. She was a pop star and he was not. This could not be good for either of them. But both disagreed. And they both wrote a beautiful song about a fictional character named Elisa Day. Much of this book is of fictional characters who meet a terrible end. But from death comes beauty, eternity, immortality. Beautiful stories, which we all know from fiction and poetry and film, are some of the best. Again, there's a harmony on death. There's something beautiful. Not about dying, but it's about what life is and what joy can be. When Kay was a young man, he had strong contempt for the world. He thought it was just evil. What's the point of it? He was angry. But he has said when his son Arthur died, everything began to change. And he began to see that there is not necessarily happiness. People can be happy, but there's joy. And it's those moments, those precious moments of joy, which one nourishes, right? This year is my favorite chapter in this book, when he meets Anita and his relationship with her. When she died, on his website, Nick Cave wrote this about Anita. You think you know grief. You think you've worked out its mechanics. You think you've become grief savvy, stronger, wiser, more resilient. You think that there is nothing more that can hurt you in the world. And then Anita dies. Standing on the street in a baby ball dress, surrounded by sunshine, laughing and radiating. A piercing beauty of such force, you stop breathing. I could not believe my eyes. Anita remained a friend of his for his entire life, her entire life. What Byron has called friendship, love without wings. How could something so luminous carry so much darkness, he said. Despise the concept of the muse, but was everybody's, he continued. Yes, she was his lover, but yes, he was his friend. In time, Nick Cave lost 2 sons, a dear friend who was more than that, helped inspire 2 eternal songs, From Her to Eternity and Stranger Than Kindness. In this book, a biography, a story, but the harmony of death, the harmony of love, the harmony of desire, the harmony of life, where he meets Robert Johnson at the end, at the crossroads. If you're at home with Flannery O'Connor, if you're at home with William Faulkner, if you're at home with Cormac McCarthy, and at home with Johnny Cash, and Hank Williams, then you have a place in the music of Nick Cave, an Australian writer, but has immersed himself in American culture, history, and myth, which himself has infused with the King James Bible. As is Nick Cave. Thank you for viewing.